there are good and bad sides about leaving your family, leaving your life behind, and building something very, very different. So I'll be talking a little bit about pros and cons from changing from a Brazilian culture to a Hong Kong culture. So I've used to live in Brazil. I'm from Brazil. I used to do law school there. I had a job in an office. I did fashion design as well. My family is full of lawyers. My mom's a doctor. So I ended up growing up believing I had to be something like that as well. And I ended up picking being a lawyer. But when I was in uni, I actually did not really enjoy, even though I enjoyed the course, I did not enjoy working in an office. And I just felt like I wasn't sure if I wanted to be doing that forever. It was a very bureaucratic work, if you know what I mean. It's like a lot of paperwork and things like that. So I flipped 180 degrees and ended up in the other side of the world. I live in Hong Kong now. It's like a 2-day flight from Brazil, 11-hour difference from my family, but I do not regret. I'm actually very happy that I did that, but also very sad. So there are good and bad sides about leaving your family, leaving your life behind, and building something very, very different. So I'll be talking a little bit about pros and cons from changing from a Brazilian culture to a Hong Kong culture, which, having in mind, Hong Kong is very mixed. So there is a lot of like the Chinese, like the local culture, but there's also a lot of Western culture inside as well, because especially where I live, it also depends a little bit where in Hong Kong you live. But where I live in the main island of Hong Kong Island, which is where most of the expats, the immigrants, the, you know, people that are not from Hong Kong is where most of them live. Most of like the teachers, the bankers that the companies bring them to Hong Kong, they will live around this area. So this is the most mixed part of Hong Kong. If you go a little bit more to the Kowloon side, like a little bit closer to the border, a little bit far from like the central area of Hong Kong, then you start getting more of the local, even more infused of the local culture. But do I regret leaving my law office job to become a lash artist in Hong Kong? That's really a big flip. So why did I leave my office? I did not enjoy so much. Like when I was working there, I did have fun. I had my auntie work there, like it was her company, but I worked really hard there. I went from an intern, ended up being full-time, and at the time that I was a full-time, I was still in uni, so I would work from, I think it was 8 or 9 a.m, then have a lunch break, work until 5:30, then I would go to uni, have a couple of classes, and then some days I would only have classes and go home, or some days I would have like 1 or 2 classes and then go to the gym like at like 8 p.m. or something, sometimes 7:30, 8 p.m. Go to the gym and then go home, driving by myself at night. So it was a crazy time. I had no time for anything. Well, I thought I had no time for anything. Nowadays, I feel like I have no time for anything. So I guess it always changes depending on where you are. But actually, I did have quite some time because on the weekend, I had nothing to do. Like I didn't have class, I didn't have work. So I actually had like the full Saturday and Sunday to do anything I wanted, and usually would be nothing, or like go to the beach with my friends, or go out with my friends or something like that. So it was at that time my life was where most people are. There's like you go to work, go home, and it's the Friday, and then thank God it's Friday, and then you enjoy your Saturday, and then Sunday you're like, tomorrow I have to do everything again. Like my grandpa used to say to my mom, and then my mom used to say this to me when I was growing up, is on Sunday she would be like, tomorrow it starts all over again, and then we would all be like, no, we don't want to go to like work or to school or things like that. But now that I moved to Hong Kong, it's something that really changed, especially after I started working for lashes by myself. It's something that really changed, and I'm really happy and like proud about, is that I don't feel bad when it's like a Sunday and I'm actually quite excited. Like Sunday, sometimes like I'm just at home, we're home like just chilling, and it's nice to be there. But I enjoy Monday, I enjoy coming to the studio. You know, I worked so hard to be able to like afford a big studio by myself, so I actually love being here and having my clients come and, you know, have clients get their nails done and make videos. Even though my videos are like really slow and growing very slowly, I just really enjoy doing it. So I don't feel bad on Sunday. They're like, oh my god, tomorrow is Monday. I'm actually pretty excited. I like the weekdays, especially if it's a more chill week. Actually, I prefer to have a full day off than having just one client here, one client there. But like, I thought this month was gonna be way more chill than it is, because because it's July, it's the mid of summer, most of my clients traveling, but they all travel in different dates. So it's actually been quite busy every week. Like a couple of days was a bit more chill and out of nowhere really busy. So that is something that changed when I decided to leave my office job and build my own business, my own thing with something that I liked, that I enjoyed. And it wasn't something that I knew I liked and I knew I wanted to do lash extension. Like I figured it out with time. It took a couple of years after I moved to Hong Kong. It wasn't right away. I started working at other places. I was a barista, I was retail sales person. I was part-time, like working at this restaurant, vegan restaurant that I really like. They shut down, unfortunately. So I tried working at a hair salon, and that was really stressful and gave me a lot of anxiety because I did not do well on the training day. So I'm actually happy that didn't work, even though I was very upset how they fired me, because they never really fired me. I just showed up one day and there was someone else taking my place and they didn't even tell me anything. So I was very upset about how things happened, but not that they happened. I was actually happy that I left. But yeah, so there's a lot of things. So let me take you guys a little bit. Let's go out here in Hong Kong. I'm gonna go have lunch somewhere and then we can talk a little bit more. It's a very rainy season, a couple of weeks now in Hong Kong. But one thing that I love about here is that I can just walk everywhere. And it doesn't matter what time of the day it is. It might be morning, might be late at night. You can just walk. It's safe. And in a lot of countries, in Brazil, or even like in the US, a lot of places in Europe, you might not feel that comfortable walking around because, especially if you're a woman, you don't want to be walking around by yourself at any time, but especially at night, right? We're in a vulnerable position because, like it or not, most men will be stronger than us or might attack us or whatever. We might be robbed, we might be so many things, right? So fortunately in Hong Kong, I feel very safe on most places. I also live in a privileged area, so we have to remember that as well. But yeah, that's probably my top one thing about Hong Kong that I love, is how safe I feel and how well this side of the city works. So the restaurant I wanted to go first, they didn't have the item I wanted, so I came to another one. So these are more like Japanese restaurants. So they have a lot of like the curry sets, which I love, but I'm thinking about getting just like the steak and rice with veggies. So job and salaries here in Hong Kong, I feel like for salary here is something that is like there's no ceiling. It's like the sky is the limit. But one thing that is very hard here will be shops in general, restaurants. Even like for me, for a salon, it's not that easy because rent here is so expensive that time and time again, everywhere you go, you see like some spots that will have like restaurants and shops opening and closing all the time, like even many times a year. Because the rent's so expensive, people like take a leap of faith but then it doesn't work out, or they have bad management or whatever reason it is. But one thing that is very different compared to Brazil is, for example, teachers. Here, everyone wants to be a teacher and they have pretty good salary. There are schools that will pay your salary plus a help on rent. So a lot of people that either married another teacher or anyone else, right? They will have like maybe even the whole rent they don't pay because they both have rent help from the job, or they only pay half of the rent because that like one of them is a teacher. And that's not only with teachers, but that's just like a very basic one that in Brazil is very different. They don't have good salary, they have a lot of work. People don't appreciate teachers as much. And teachers are such like a base for our society. So I'm really happy that here in Hong Kong, they actually give that much back to teachers. And because of that, a lot of teachers, they have really long like holidays as well. Like they will have like full 2 months holiday, like some of my clients, and they just travel for like 6 weeks. But they also have a lot of work to be done behind the scenes, of course. But I feel like here, if you have like at least like a medium to good salary, it's already a very big plus, because most other countries in the world, your salary will be very high in comparison. So like when I go to Brazil, I get to spend more. I get to travel a lot around Asia because tickets around here are just so cheap, especially like from Hong Kong. There's, well, anywhere in the Southeast Asia, we get very cheap tickets. In Brazil, for you to travel inside Brazil would be the same price I pay for me to go to like Thailand, to go to Vietnam, to go to Bali. You know, if you want to go to China, there are like bullet trains from Hong Kong now. Hi, thank you. Food is here. Yeah, so your salary here opened so many doors for you to travel around, much more than if I was in Brazil, or I think US as well is very expensive to travel around inside the country. Because of that, like a lot of people in Brazil and in the US as well, they don't even have a passport because they can barely afford to leave the country, like to pay for tickets. They never left the country. So it's actually something very common. And here in Hong Kong, anywhere you go, you're outside the country. So everyone have a passport. Even if you want to go to like Macau, to Shenzhen, which is just like an hour from here by train or by bus, by boat, you need a passport. So that's a really cool thing about living here. You can go to so many countries in just 1 year, like weekend trips and things like that. But the next cool thing that I love about here is the food. And even though it's very hard to find, there's no Brazilian food here in Hong Kong really. We used to have a restaurant which was a mix of Brazilian and Japanese that I really liked. They had moqueca, they had dadinho de tapioca, they had coxinha, but they closed down unfortunately, as all restaurants, most restaurants do, like I told you guys. But there's another one, it's still here, but it's just an all-you-can-eat restaurant. There's no really like Brazilian food, it's just like barbecue. There's like beans, like black beans, like feijoada, but it's not the best. I never really go to this restaurant, to be honest. But we have so much food of other countries, so right now I'm having Japanese. So this is like rice with veggies, some grilled beef. Then I got, thank you. And I got just some gyozas right on time. And some tea. So the culinary here is very different. I grew up in Brazil, and in Brazil we have the China in Box restaurant chain, food chain. When I moved to Hong Kong, I was like, oh my god, like in the US they have Panda Express, I think. I've never been, but I guess like it's like the big Chinese food chain of the country. And when I moved to Hong Kong, I was like, oh my god, like China Box lied to me my whole life. Like food have nothing to do with the one I had in Brazil. But the thing is, I don't think is different. You can actually find a lot of the stuff that I used to eat in China Box restaurant. You can find here a lot of things, like the sweet and sour pork, the grilled beef with onions, the fried egg, the noodles, the yakisoba. I mean, now I'm mixing like Chinese and Japanese stuff that also used to sell in China Box. But the thing is that the most popular things in Brazil are different than the most popular things here. So when I moved to Hong Kong, like the thing that people love here, like the char siu, the baos, are not things that we used to eat in Brazil. So I was like, oh my god, it's so different. Some things smell very different. And it's just not like spices that we usually use in Brazil, but you can find. So when I go to the cha cha tang, the local restaurants here, I actually do order the stuff that I used to have in Brazil, like the sweet and sour pork, the grilled beef with onions, the white rice, you know, the fried rice. I love their shrimp with egg and rice. You will find so many things that you love, even though in the beginning you might be like, oh my god, it looks nothing like what I was expecting. And you have so many like fusions of food here. Like here I'm eating like this place which is like a Japanese. We eat a lot of Japanese food here as well, which is something that we also eat a lot in Brazil. But Japanese food in Brazil is sushi, sashimi, nigiri, but not the curry, the rice, the gyoza, omu rice. Nothing like that. Never had anything like that in Brazil. But here you see everywhere. And you see that from all cultures except from Brazil, but a lot of cultures. So that's something I love so much about Hong Kong. It's the food for sure. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm gonna have a lunch. Another thing I love about moving to Hong Kong is the gym culture that I got into. This is the gym that I usually go to and started doing strongman when I moved to Hong Kong a few years after I moved actually. And this is basically my second house. This is where I do everything. Today I'm doing some bench presses. This is not on my strongman program, but I really love doing bench. So, and in Brazil, I feel like I used to do some CrossFit. It was either a CrossFit or just like commercial gyms where you just train by yourself, and I never really knew what I was doing there. So I feel like here having classes, having a more of a structure and coaches taught me so much, and it's so much better for like my health. I love being here and doing whatever. Today's like cardio and bench day. I'm trying to do more cardio because I'm gonna do high rocks again
in January with my friends, and we're gonna go against my boyfriend and his friend, so we want to beat them. And I don't really do cardio, so I'm a little bit slow.
Hey, all work, no pleasure. I ain't here to make friends, big stepper. Hey, bad guy, Heath Ledger. Ready for wherever, I'll be front and center. Don't fly too close to the sun, your body chopped up by propellers. Came in arrogant, but left out in a stretcher. Fuck the
So yes, so we finished the day here. I'm gonna go home now, finish my clients. Today I had 3 clients and then the break in the afternoon. So it's quite late now. In the break I went to the gym like I showed you and came back to the studio to do some work, uploading YouTube videos and making reels on my Instagram, so you guys can follow me there. But I basically said already some pros and cons about moving like from Brazil to Hong Kong, but there's so much we can talk about. And if you guys have any questions about culture difference, culture, like how did I do that, anything, but it was 100% worth it, changing my life and becoming a lash artist. So if you want to see what's gonna happen next, I have videos coming out about my adult maxing, my money management, and I'm always updating, especially on the finance part, because I'm applying a lot of new things. I bought a course about finance, like very basic finance and investment, savings, things like that. So every time I learn something new, I'm gonna come here and share with you so we can all grow together and make that money and stop having to worry so much where we're spending everything, so we can buy whatever we want and take a maternity leave even though we work by ourselves and go on trips and just live a good life. I don't want this money for buying bags and a car and a mansion. I just want, well, in a way, I want a mansion in Hong Kong, but it's just a normal sized apartment in anywhere else in the world. That's all I wanted, is to be able to afford that. So I would really appreciate that life. Okay, thanks. And yeah, and be able to like have a baby and have a maternity leave, because I deserve it. I'm a human too, but no one's gonna pay that for me, so I'm gonna have to pay myself. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye, babe.